Hey, shalom, guys. Welcome to another live episode. Today I got Seamus and Brad from Alternate Media. They are joining the conversation today. Specifically, we were tagged in a video that we're going to be talking about. And Seamus was even saying earlier, this topic has kind of gone on too long without being addressed. So figured we'd talk about it. But first and foremost, Hanukkah is coming up, ladies and gentlemen. And what better way to get your loved one is a book from Alternate Media themselves. Now, you can't get this one anymore because, Seamus, why is that?
That's a founder's edition is what you have there.
That's right.
That's a first edition. We've now released the second edition of that same volume and volume 2. So we have 2 different volumes now.
So now volume 2 is out. Cool. Thank you for that. I think that's the first time it's being publicly announced by someone from Alternate Media. Not going to lie, guys, I was pretty disappointed in your advertising of this book because someone who wasn't a part of Alternate Media first messaged me, hey, volume 2's out. I'm like, oh, no messages from Seamus, Brad, Austin, Jeremy. Cool. Okay.
It's funny because like you're an author in volume 2.
I am. So yeah, thank you for that.
yeah, you know, we're here for you. Kind of.
Now, regarding this topic, before we kind of get into this, now we all know Shay. She was, I guess you can say, like a Torah observer, has been for a long time, and she has really seen a lot of the ugliness that has gone on, with the Torah observant crowd, and I think the same thing with me too. I was pretty excited to get on TikTok, meet other people who believe like the same thing that I believe. You know, I didn't believe in the Trinity. The only group of people I can find who didn't believe in the Trinity also were like Jehovah's Witnesses, but I didn't agree everything with their doctrine. And it was hard to find like pro-Nomian individuals. When you go on TikTok, I feel like you find a lot of people there, but they go so they know Torah, but they don't at the same time. And one thing that was really annoying with me, and you guys will agree with me, is them constantly saying you have to believe in Yahuwah Yahya and that Yahuwah Yahya sent Yahuwah Shawiyah to come and die for our sins. And it gets so unbearable sometimes because
You're not exaggerating, by the way.
No, I'm seriously not. I know. I'm seriously not exaggerating.
He's not telling a joke. It's the truth. It's just genuinely funny.
It sounds like that.
It really does. And, you know, everyone knows what they're talking about because you're right and everyone else is wrong. And you have the Holy Spirit and everything like that. But Shay tagged us in this little video that she made. Now, Shay did not talk to me about this. No one has talked to me. This is just me, what I observed that I just kind of want to share to everyone real quick. So she is friends with this girl named Ashley. Ashley has kind of left the Torah observant movement just because of a lot of the ugliness that has gone on. And I'll be honest with you guys, like I really don't blame her, you know, with a lot of what has gone on and everything. Now she is looking into Orthodox Christianity, which out of Orthodoxy, Catholicism, Protestantism, I believe Orthodoxy makes the most sense. And like I tell people, if I was a Christian, like I would be Orthodox.
Yeah, if you had to pick one, Eastern Orthodox.
Oh yeah, EO for sure. You know, so I think with Shay kind of stepping back and watching everything that happened to Ashley, she made this post, and it was actually funny because Brad, before you came on, like Seamus asked, or you might have been here, like Seamus even asked me, like, what did you think of the post? I'm like, there was just like a 1. I kind of, you know, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
it was famous because Seamus said the same thing.
Yeah.
So before we look at this, is there anything that you guys kind of wanted to say? Your thoughts or about this? Basically, this Torah terrorism that a lot of people do, or this zealousness, if you want to say.
Brad, you want to go first?
Yeah, in my experience, the people are walking away are some of the same people who, I'm not trying to be harsh, but they were slightly terroristic themselves. Um, but they ended up walking away from some of the culty natured behaviors, some of the more culty groups, um, and thank goodness for that. Um, but I don't think it really can be discounted that they, in some part, did contribute to this. Some a little bit of this fire was fed by their fuel.
I can agree in some sense, and that depends on who you're talking about as far as the people leaving. There are some who are leaving, though, that were not that way. They were basically just ran out because of where they were in their journey.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most observant, and because they weren't to this super high standard that a particular ministry, one in particular that comes to mind that I think most people are thinking of when they make these Torah terrorist posts. This is not the only one. This is the first one. And I don't know if Shay realizes this, but she started a trend, and now a lot of these people are like coming out of the closet, if you will, saying
Yeah.
certain things that they always felt afraid to say because of the Torah terrorists. My first initial reaction to that actually is this. It's two things. One, I hope to God I'm not one of the people somebody thinks about when they make a post like this. And two, if you are one of the people that the person is thinking about when a post is being made like this, you bring deep embarrassment and shame on the entire movement.
One more thing to say, and this is because I've been having this conversation, or at least what I would say are the beginnings of this conversation for a few years now. And some years back, I made a series of posts addressing it, essentially calling for more firm boundaries to be established between sects. Because essentially what I noticed is that some of these Torah terrorists were riding the coattails of more legitimate teachers by claiming to be the same thing, knowing full well they were not the same thing.
Right.
And I received a lot of backlash from some people who are now walking away because of Torah terrorists. So I don't want to say I told you so. But I mean, the amount of opportunities that I've had on TikTok to say I told you so, I typically don't like to say it because I think that, especially in this case, I think those people in question, they already know at this point.
Yeah, I was going to specify too that this seems to be a unique phenomenon to the more Hebrew roots leaning
Yes.
side of the
Yeah.
Torah community. Because from the traditionally, I'm not even sure how you would apply that term. Traditionally Messianic Torah observant Christian community is not this way.
Yes.
In my experience anyway. So for those of you that are, getting terrorized, come out of the Hebrew roots, come over here. We have cookies in the back. We're a lot more gentle. Your level of observance is where you are. We don't judge. Like,
So let me say two things real quick on that too. And while you guys were saying like the cult, like I remember even hearing, and again, I never went to this place. I don't know if it was called Vineyard, Parable of the Vineyard.
Parable of the Vineyard. Yeah.
Parable of the Vineyard. Like I've heard that is one of the culty places to where I guess there was a big thing. I've heard this from many people, so I'm trying not to just slander on purpose, or it's just
the video is on YouTube. I mean, anybody can go look for it.
But something about like a woman, like the community felt like the husband wasn't okay. Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've watched 2 videos outlining it, and then a handful of other videos from insiders who were there for it.
Okay,
or at least part of it.
Because I wasn't trying to commit like a Lashon Hara, but something along the lines of a married couple were basically they're trying to split them up, and one of the leaders was going to take on a second wife of
that part that part in particular I'm not familiar with, but
that's what I thought you were
there are other. I don't want to go into details, but there were other very
right.
concerning matters that caused that group to go through a bit of a split, and kind of again, it's a live video on YouTube. The essentially the community has a big board meeting on how to deal with the particular issue that they're dealing with, and the amount of people who have who stood up to say that they came to that community from another community where the same thing had happened was actually staggering. And then the second part about it is the amount of people who stood up to prop up the leadership and defend the leadership in spite of their failure was also staggering. And that's textbook of a cult. Right. That it's a very like worship mentality where like the leader clearly screws up, but because they come forward and like, I'm sorry, you know, the South Park, sorry. And then everybody in the congregation is like, we failed him by not helping him because he's carrying the burden. And it's like, okay, no, you're a cult.
No, right. And I mean, yeah. And the second thing I wanted to make mention to real quick is like Seamus was just saying, like, guys, like come out of Hebrew roots. And guys, listen, I get it. The church has hurt you. You don't agree everything with the church, but that doesn't mean that you have to literally go into this trend of, you know, calling God's name this fake Hebrew stuff. And if you say the name Jesus, you are now worshiping a false god. And it's be a little more educated. And I would suggest, you know, looking into Orthodox like Judaism. Like that is one of the most attractive things to me. And I'll be honest with you. With me, I prefer Orthodox Judaism over Christianity because you can still disagree with on a point, but you're still a brother. You're still a Jew. We can still have a unity together. Like, 2 days ago, Brad was literally on my channel, and I just said, "Hey, I disagree with Brad on this. I disagree with Matthew on this, and Brad and Matthew disagree on their idea of the Sabbath. Yet we can all have a normal conversation." And I hope a lot of people watched that and kind of took some notes on you can disagree with someone and not think that they're a POS, and you can still they can sit at your table and you can enjoy a fellowship with them. And I think that's the most attractive thing about Judaism, because you can still disagree. Shoot, the rabbis disagree in the freaking Talmud, but they're still in unity with each other. But with Christianity, it's like you disagree on one of these things, you're going to be pushed out into one of the other things, and if you disagree too much, they'll kick you out altogether. It gets a little wishy-washy, it seems like.
In Judaism, it's like, are you even really friends if you haven't argued at least like, you know, 5 times a year?
Yeah. Well, daily actually.
Right.
The point
Right.
of a chavrusa is to have someone against you every day that you study. Yeah. So now it's more prevalent. This sort of, in my experience, in Sephardi Judaism generally, this differences in observance and opinions is far more acceptable than in most more Ashkenazi circles, where they tend to put more labels on things. It's more of just a European characteristic. I think Europeans love to label and exact things and things like that. But yeah, generally speaking, Judaism has 3 main sects, and for lack of a better word, and you know, that's better than Christianity's 45,000 by a long shot. But yeah, so as we get into the slides, though, one thing that, you know, as not to give too much away, but I noticed that, you know, some of these things to me were benign. Most of them were benign. And there's really only like one slightly problematic one that but even then, like, when we'll get to it, but the fact that I guess I didn't realize just how terrorizing, for lack of a better word, the Hebrew roots movement is on people's mentality. Because if you feel like these things you can't say, again, we're going to talk about it because
Yeah.
it's like you do need to come over here because, man, I got news for you. It's freeing on this side of the aisle. Let me tell you.
Right.
So yeah. Yeah.
So we can go ahead, jump in. Now, this I try to save it in chronological order. I don't know why. I thought I saved it in order, but then like my computer shuffled everything around.
I
So
don't
the
think it
slides
matters
just don't
what order.
yeah, it doesn't, but yeah. So let's go into this first one. Says that I saw Wicked in the theaters, in both of them, part 1 and 2, and I loved it. I don't support witchcraft. I'm just a theater kid.
That's perfectly reasonable.
I love Harry Potter so much.
Right.
Well, now what's hard with this is because I know people will say like Harry Potter's bad, Wicked's bad, but Star Wars is okay. But then it's
Narnia.
like
Narnia is okay.
Or Narnia is okay. Where do we draw this line then? Of because you know what, Narnia is a better example because Narnia there is witchcraft in there. You can draw more of a. Actually, there was a video where a guy drew the comparisons of Narnia to Harry Potter. That like the 4 kings and queens were like the founders of like Hogwarts or whatever, and he drew that comparison. But like, yeah, like where do we draw this line?
Don't practice witchcraft.
Right.
Some of it. Here's the line. I'm going to give you the black and white, this side or the other. Once it becomes corn, no good. That's the line. The rest is entertainment.
Yeah.
Like again, these things are benign. A lot of these, but in my opinion, but
we actually did.
We did an episode on this.
We've made a habit of doing a spooky season special every year so far, and we will do it surrounding different topics that are pertinent to just the general season, whether it be something to do with Halloween, distinguishing what's a Halloween decoration versus a simple American fall natured decoration, right? Are pumpkins pagan? What's the difference between just a pumpkin and a jack-o'-lantern, stuff like that. Yeah. But this past year, what we decided to focus on was horror as a movie genre. Because that's a big topic in not just the Torah movement, that's a big topic in Christianity. There's a lot of Christians that would say that horror is sinful for people to watch. That's just not true. And when you say horror, you really got to talk about what kind of horror you're talking, like we're referring to, because like the schlocky slashers of the 90s are not the same thing as like the elevated horror of the 2010s era. There is some actual real moral and ethical value to a lot of the horror movies that are out there today. So it's not even that they're benign. Some of them are actually beneficial.
Yeah. And, to that point, at what point, like what's wrong with, say, watching a documentary about the occult for educational purposes and watching a movie that takes some of those concepts in an entertainment setting to tell a story?
I have put probably not an equal amount, but almost an equal amount of study into the history of paganism and the occult as I have into my Torah studies.
Yeah.
Because that's just a topic that I actually am fascinated with. And kind of from a know your enemy type of perspective. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that.
I agree. Will?
Yeah, and I think even too, like Brad, you were talking about like kind of like the bloody, gory kind of stuff. Like, Hanukkah's coming up. Go read 1st and 2nd Maccabees. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there. Or if that's not
House
scripture to you, what's the forbidden chapter in Genesis? Is it like 44? The whole Judah situation? Like that's kind of graphic. Like, there's
the Bible is so graphic sometimes. If you read a Masoretic text in its Hebrew without any translation, there are some notes in some of the margins. They're called Kurei Ketiv, what is written versus what is said. Some parts of the Bible are so graphic that in the margins, they tell you can't say this word when you read the Torah out loud because there might be some polite company present in the synagogue. So you should just say this instead of what's actually written. Kurei Ketiv. Like you know.
Now, I would say for stuff like this, I would probably be careful about little ones watching it.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, that's
You
Yeah.
know, but really, as a line kind of like drawn for if you are 30 years old, you know, and if you find it like entertaining, like whatever. But I guess my advice too would be, how is this building like your character? Like maybe instead of watching Star Wars 24/7, maybe you read some of the commentaries from different Bible people or rabbis, or how like, but that could be kind of for anything. How do you divide your time up? You
Yeah,
know,
anything could
but
be an idol. Like,
you right.
right,
But really, that's the only like nitpick thing
right.
I can really think of with
I don't
this.
I don't think she's an idol of Wicked. She, like she says, she's a theater kid. So I get that. So she has a unique appreciation for theater art form. I'm a musician. I have a unique appreciation for Vivaldi. So it's just, because we're educated and we have exposure to certain things, we appreciate art in different ways. And there's absolutely nothing wrong about that. That diversity is a creation of God.
But hey, Seamus, real quick, you said you're a musician.
Yeah.
When did drummers become musicians?
I'm leaving.
Let's go on to the next slide before Seamus leaves. All right, so this was actually the last slide. I actually like appreciated this one. I am friends with atheists, Orthodox Christians, Jews, Christians, Torah observers, Yeshua denying Torah observers, and many things in between. I love and learn from them all. Like, I thought that was a beautiful statement.
Yeah, you should never be afraid to say this. This is awesome.
That's intelligence. Like,
yeah,
that's actually intelligence in practice.
If you're part of a group that would shun or shame you for saying something like this, you're in the wrong group, for sure. Yeah.
And now, even with that, I'm in a group on Discord with a bunch of Eastern Orthodox people, and I joke with them that like, hey, I'm the heretic of the group, and like a new Orthodox guy just joined, and I'm there. He's like, oh, who's Will Walker? I'm like, I'm the heretic. Wait, what? And like two of them are like, no, he's cool. He's cool. we love Milwaukee. But I'm on a Discord group, so I think that should speak some volumes. That and these are some smart people, good friends of mine that I consider, and there are, and I know this goes the same way with you guys. There are rabbis and Orthodox Jews who I am friends with, and I know you guys are friends with, who deny Yeshua, who are like, nope, no way, there's no way I'm going to touch the New Testament in any way, shape, or form. So this idea, though, to like hate on them, like I feel like it's a very Christian-like thing. I remember even like growing up, like that's how my dad was. My dad was very like anti-Semitic, and even we were driving by a Muslim temple, and my dad is like, oh, I hope a rocket like blows that up. I'm like, Dad, like those are people, like you can disagree with them, but like why would you want like the death of those people? Like, and the first verse that came to my mind was, obviously this is years later when I'm reading the Bible, but like in Ezekiel talks about how God does not take any joy whatsoever in the death of the wicked. And it's like, so
there's a I can't remember where it comes from specifically. I think it might be in Tractate Shabbat. There's a story in the Talmud where the children of Israel successfully escape Egypt through the parting of the Red Sea. And the Red Sea crashes down and drowns everybody, drowns all the Egyptians in the water. Now the children of Israel start celebrating, and they sing this song of Moses at the sea. And the angels, and the story goes, the angels in heaven started to rejoice as well. And God checks them. And he's like, how dare you? And the angels are like, well, the Israelites are celebrating. It's like, yeah, it's a victory for them because their lives are saved. But your heavenly hosts, your heavenly beings, and the works of my hands are drowned in the ocean, and you would offer me praise. So like, that's the way the compassion of God as portrayed in Orthodox Judaism is beyond this kind of stuff, for sure.
Yep.
And so it doesn't even matter if they're idolaters, or even if it's these, the killing in self-defense. There's no celebration in heaven for that. So
Yeah,
it's actually something that is the personality that we find in Judaism in general, is like a willingness to at least have a conversation with most anybody from any other religion. Basically, Trinitarian Christians are the only people they're not really willing to have an in-depth conversation with, which coincidentally, those brand of Christians are also unwilling to really have an in-depth conversation with most anybody from any other religion. Funny how that works, but I've never understood the fear, because I do think it is mostly fear driven. The reasons for shunning anybody who thinks slightly differently.
yeah, and there's in fact, like, so when it comes to Judaism particularly, this reminds me, Judaism is a blessing for just about everything. In Orthodoxy, there is a blessing for meeting a non-Jewish, non-Torah scholar. There's a blessing for meeting a Torah scholar, of course, but there's also a blessing for meeting a scholar of any particular topic. If you meet Albert Einstein, maybe not a great example because he happened to be Jewish, but the non-Jewish version of Albert Einstein, there's a blessing you're supposed to say for that. And that blessing is, blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has given of his wisdom to flesh and blood. So, friends with atheists, Orthodox Christians, Jews, Christians, Torah observers, Yeshua deniers, totally fine. In fact, if you run into a scholar of one, there's even a blessing for that. There's nothing wrong with being friends with these people, and it's encouraged, if anything.
and I think too, like, even if you disagree with one of these people, shouldn't your light shine to them in a respectful and loving way, to have them even question, like, wow, this person is living this lifestyle, and this person has been so loving, knowledgeable, just an outstanding individual. I want to inquire what this religion teaches. Why does Seamus and Brad follow this way of life? I want to, hey, what do you guys call this thing? A Shabbat? It's on a Friday night? Not to be rude, can I come out and can I hang out with you? Like, what do you guys do? That opens that door, and that loving kindness and the relationship that you're building with that individual will invite that in. Mm-hmm. If someone is an atheist, an Orthodox Christian, Yeshua denying, whatever, you just give them the middle finger and tell them to F off, essentially. You will never bring that person in.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form,
For sure. So yeah, no, moral of this one is, if you feel afraid to say this, you're in the wrong group, I think, for sure.
Amen. All right, let's go on. This one is, I will never eat unclean. However, I do crave coconut shrimp sometimes. And so I can say that because, I didn't become really Torah observant until I was like 21. So I would go to Subway. I would eat pepperoni pizza. I would put pepperoni with tuna on my sandwich. And I loved crab, lobster, and shrimp. I'm not going to lie. I don't miss the pepperoni just because I remember how greasy it was. And sometimes it disgusts me. But this was funny because even now, when we go to the market and I see coconut shrimp frozen, I'm like, I remember it was so good. Oh well, honestly, I'm literally oh well, I enjoyed it, but my God has told me that this is not food, this is not beneficial for my growth, so I'm going to disown myself and follow His laws.
A wise Jewish man once said, "Temptation is not sin." Temptation is not sin. To feel tempted doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. The temptation itself is not sin. And if anything, it's a mitzvah. Because if you feel tempted, then when you resist that temptation, that's a mitzvah. And if you're not tempted and then you resist the non-temptation, Have you really done anything? Like, so Judaism actually goes, oh, you're tempted? Good. Amazing. You're fulfilling a mitzvah. Like, so yeah, I miss bacon and cheese waffle fries. I used to eat that all the time. Yeah, I miss that. Sure.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
I will say this though, it is weird because a lot of the people, like, I don't want to say Torah observant movements anymore. Like, it's really the Hebrew roots. I swear, a lot of these people, if not all of them, equivocate killing someone versus like eating pork.
Yeah.
Like those are on, even the Torah brings that up. Like if I kill someone, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, like I should, I'm going to go up in front of the Sanhedrin. Most likely I'm going to be killed. If I eat something unclean, I'm going to be unclean for the day, have to wait until the next day. Like there's different punishments and just different justifications for like that law. Like if my wife was, I don't know, magically in danger, they said we either kill her and you don't eat pork, or you eat pork and we save her life. I'm going to eat the pork. Because Seamus, kind of like what you were talking about, was like the greater mitzvah right here.
Yeah.
Of, yes, I'm going against the law, but it's for one better. And I think like the Hebrew roots is like weird on that. Like they're really obsessed with the whole, eating clean versus unclean, to where they make it like a Torah terrorist type of idea.
It's that missing the forest for the trees. One of the most popular analogies of something very similar to this is, obviously the Bible says that lying is a sin. And so kind of the gotcha that a lot of atheists have turned to is, okay, so then like if you were in, 1940 Germany and, the police of the state came knocking at your door, inquiring if you had Jews in your home, would you just tell them that you did, or would you wouldn't lie to them? And it's like, no, in that scenario, of course I'd lie to them. Like, yeah, that obviously I would lie to those police.
Right.
What kind of human being are you if you say that you wouldn't? What higher good do you think you're serving?
Yeah, because I feel like people will bring up like Romans 15, where it says like obey and listen to the government, but
wrong government.
Obey Hashem first. Follow his laws come first, and then any other judiciary laws that don't contradict his law.
Well, plus Romans 14 is talking about the Sanhedrin anyway, so
right.
Wrong government.
We don't want to talk about that, Seamus.
All right, let's go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Now this one's a sin. If you garden,
this one is the one I had an issue with.
That's right. That's right. You are not allowed to garden. You have to look. God has provided us with Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, and Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. You thought the devil's lettuce was something else? No, it's actually lettuce.
I'll be honest with you. I was really confused why she said I garden. Like, are there people who are against gardening?
New to me. Maybe she put it down for a reason. So again, I feel like you're definitely in the wrong group if this is being sinful for you to them. So maybe we just need more clarification on this one particularly. But yeah, I mean, my wife gardens. She made marinara sauce earlier today. I had for dinner some bread and marinara sauce. Tomatoes were grown, basil was grown.
So, and Tanya's actually she's already said, I wish she would.
I don't think those are the herbs she's talking about, Seamus.
Really? Devil's lettuce?
No.
That's why I said maybe I need clarification. Maybe I'm misreading this.
No, she might just be saying like some of the activities that like she does, not necessarily. Maybe that's how I initially took this.
Yeah,
and Seamus, no, interesting too. Like my wife Tanya, she has tomatoes, basil. She has grown potatoes and carrots, and I will say this: ever since kind of like joining this walk, we've been more anti like medicine and kind of just on natural stuff. And my kids have been sick, and what we do is we take an onion, chop it up, and we pour it with honey, let it ferment for about a week, And we give that to the kids as soon as they start, or even if they feel a little bit sick, and it works. Some people have used onion, some people have used garlic. But again, it goes back to Hashem has given us everything on this earth for our benefit. To obviously, I was joking. We don't have to go to McDonald's and all these other places. Like we can grow our own natural food.
Non-kosher restaurants anyway.
Right. And we can use that for our benefit to make us healthy individuals. He has given us. So,
well, if it's a different kind of gardening, still not a problem, really. I mean, I know it's socially kind of like a taboo thing, but I mean, you're talking about a plant that bears seeds, so
right. It meets the Genesis criteria.
I smoke cigars. I love cigars. I love a good cigar. And I mean, there's no real quantifiable argument that you could make for cigars that you can't also make for that, and have an honest objection that isn't a contradiction to itself simply because of a cultural norm or a taboo subject within a particular Western culture. So, yeah.
The only thing I could think of maybe, which I'm guessing this is not going to apply in this situation because this kind of an admission could be legally dangerous if that were the case. But that is if the state that you live in here in the United States, because each individual state has addressed this independently. If the state that you live in, this is an illegal activity, that's really the only issue. But again, given that this is a very public admission of this, I don't know where she lives. I'm going to wager it's an area where this is actually legal.
If that's what this is about. I have no idea.
Right. But hey, let me ask you guys this real quick. Because while we were talking, I just thought of the whole situation with Noah. After he gets off the ark, he plants a vineyard and he gets drunk. Like we can say for a social norm for getting drunk, almost the text doesn't say he did it on purpose, but you can look, if all your friends and family or everyone you knew is once gone, I think it has the implication of, he's sad, he's destroyed on the inside. Maybe he did want to get drunk, right? Did Noah then sin? Did he do something wrong? Or, he just got,
not yet.
You know what I mean?
I think it's Psalms or Proverbs that says wine is the joy of a man's heart. And the text does not make it out that the drunkenness itself was the sin, that it just led to a problematic situation. So it's part of the equation, but it by itself is not the problem. Now, of course, excessive anything, right, is
right.
Everything in moderation. But yeah, even in Orthodoxy and Judaism, the tradition is to get basically almost blackout drunk once a year on Purim. Because drinking by itself and even, getting to that state on a one-time kind of special occasion is not a problem in itself. It's when you are addicted to it, it becomes a problem. If it ruins your life, ruins your family, takes your finances, affects your personality, obviously, drink responsibly and everything like that. But the drinking itself is not sinful. It's not prohibited.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on.
Yeah, we got a lot to get to.
I have a mouth of a sailor, not around my children, obviously. Dude, this resonated with me because I'm a blue collar worker. I started off with the union, and you're around the guys. You're building stuff, and even literally a month ago, I probably broke a record only because the HVAC guy told me to run my plumbing this way so I wouldn't interfere with them. I'm like, okay, cool. I ran it, and the GC was with me. Then he's like, wait, why did Will run it this way? He's like, because you told us to. Oh, no, I wanted it the other way. And the decision came down to I had to cut everything out and move it. And my favorite word was MF that day. And you know, like I get it. Even when I'm on those type of jobs, I'm around the people. I like that's you know how I
Yeah.
do it.
You're
You know,
speaking the lingo at that point.
yeah, it's almost like the talk. You know, now it's
When
interesting
in
because
Rome, bro.
yeah,
It's just language.
I remember Mike from Inspiring Philosophy. You know, I don't care for him, but this episode I actually kind of agreed with. If you're around your buddies and you're talking in a specific way around your friends, you know, and no one finds offense to it, then it should be acceptable.
Depends
You
on
know,
your audience. Yep.
it depends on your audience. Now, obviously, like, look, if me, Seamus, and Brad are hanging out, I'm probably gonna drop some stuff that I would never drop on air. Or if Seamus and Brad's wife were around, I want to talk a certain way. If my kids are around, or if there's other kids around, I want to talk in a certain way. But if it's just me, Brad, and Seamus in a room and we're just hanging out as boys, you know, we're probably going to say some things that other people wouldn't like.
We're going to say some things that would make a prison guard blush.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, you know, we do try and have a sense of decorum and professionalism when we're live, but I mean, you know, when you're with the boys.
The thing is, it's all about setting. You know, when I'm at work, I'm a professional. When I'm at home, I'm a family guy. When I'm with the boys, I'm one of the boys. You know, to the Jew, I became a Jew. Like the Gentiles, I became a Gentile. Paul did the same thing. It's just, it depends on who you're with. Language is language. There's no sense. There's no combination of syllables that you could string together that by themselves, except for, you know, maybe the name of God himself, that would be in utterance considered sinful.
Yeah.
For me personally also, and I remember having this conversation with my wife, I think when we were dating or like shortly after we were married, I'd actually told her, I was like, you know, like if given the choice between somebody who's going to purposefully use language that skirts around what they actually mean, and somebody who cusses like a sailor, like I'm gonna choose the dude who cusses like a sailor because he's the one who's being honest with me.
Yeah.
Like if you purposefully go out of your way not to use profanity, I actually don't trust you.
And the Marine Corps did a study about that.
That's why Donald Trump's my favorite president.
You know, so fun thing about the Marines though, they did a study a long time ago. This is actually like during Vietnam. The study concluded basically this: when Marines curse and talk to each other in cussing, there's no sense of urgency. So there's a cultural thing at work. And so one of the things they noticed is that when people like run into a tent and they start yelling curses at stuff, no one really takes them seriously. But the second a person came in and he didn't utter a single curse word, but there's alarm in his voice, everyone immediately knows they're under attack. And so in certain instances and in cultures, a lack of cussing indicates real urgency. And so, yeah, there's like a whole cultural, like, yeah, if you're not cussing, something is wrong. If you are cussing, everything's fine. Like that's kind of the more or less what was talked about in the study. I found it fascinating, but made sense to me because we do that. But yeah, I think that one, you know, I think that one is pretty cut and dry. Unless you guys have anything else you want to add.
No, I get why she said it though, because I know like a lot of people like you know, my mother-in-law, you know, I've accidentally sworn a few times, then it turns into like, you know, so she's an old Russian lady. Well, I thought you Christian. I thought you believe Jesus. How you believe Jesus and have mouth like this? You know, so it's, you know, I get it.
You should have heard Jesus speak. The man said some stuff.
Now, this one was interesting. So we rarely wear our tzitzits. We have them, and I will always keep them. I teach my children what they are and what they symbolize. And I still put them on occasionally, but we do not wear them every day.
Okay,
they're going to hell. Straight to hell.
The command, and me and Seamus have talked about this. The command is to wear tzitzit on your four-cornered garment. There is no obligation to wear a four-cornered garment all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
if you're not wearing a 4-corner garment, you're not
Don't worry about it.
obligated to wear any seats. So, like right now, I'm not wearing any seat because I don't have my seat shirt on today. So
Me either, because
I
I'm
don't
in
wear
my
mine every
PJs.
single day either. I got to wash them sometimes. I only have like 5 of them. They can be expensive too.
And I can't wear them at my job anyway. Like, those things are expensive and they're nice. It's a nice garment. And I work in
Yeah.
a blue collar field where I get dirty. I'm not going to wear those.
That's actually one thing I like about Judaism, because now if you're like a Hebrew roots, when you read this, you really don't get it and you just throw it on your belt loops.
Yeah.
But in Judaism, like it breaks it down. You have your Talik Gadol, which is
Mhm.
like everyone's used to basically seeing the
big talit.
the peat that goes over, that you'll see a lot of like the rabbis wearing, everything like that. And then you have the Talik Katan, which is like the little shirt kind of thing that goes over. And I've actually tried to wear that, but like I'm with Brad. Like, I'm in the trades too. Like literally, well, I made my video, but I was back in that crawl space. I'm replacing
Yeah.
the entire drain line of a house, and I'm
Under-
crawling. Like it's going to slide out of my overalls, and if it rips, I'm gonna be like devastated.
Yeah.
So when I work, I just don't wear it anymore.
Yeah.
And the whole point of it is to remember the commands. And I always, for Christians, for me to kind of like dumb it down for Christians, it's equivalent to your "what would Jesus do" bracelets. But yeah, no, Brandon, Seamus, I mean, you guys are right. When you're reading it, it talks about the garment that you're wearing. We just have it in the Mishnah where it explains it in detail on what it exactly means. And that's, again, one of the things I appreciate about Orthodox Judaism. You have a Mishnah that goes into detail on what the Torah says, that it doesn't specify. And, all these different Hebrew roots, movements, and stuff like that, they add their own interpretations in there. And that's why there's so many weird different ones.
Yeah. And even within Orthodoxy, not everyone always every day wears their seats. I mean, there are some that do, who will wear it come hell or high water, crawl under a house with them on. Like there are some who don't care. They will wear it every single day. But there's like no one's gonna look at you weird for not wearing it if you walk into shul. It's just like you either have them or you don't. Like, who cares? If you got them, cool. If you don't, cool. Yeah, so this is not a big deal in Orthodoxy. And again, Orthodoxy cares more about whether you're wearing them correctly. So
yes,
Orthodoxy will have a problem if they see them on your belt loops. They'll be like, you're not really doing anything. Like, they're not going to yell at you, but they're going to be like, hey, that's like not really doing anything. But if you're not wearing them, they're not going to care.
If you're not doing it right, don't do it at all.
Yeah, that's kind of their philosophy. But even then, they're not usually going to be rude about it. They'll usually approach you kind of graciously, unless you're belligerent back. They're not going to be that way with you. At least at every synagogue I've ever been to, we've had, I've seen new people come in with different, seat styles or something. And if it's like, we had a guy come in, he took his poncho liner from the Marine Corps and he put seats on the corners and he used that for his talit. And at first I was like, can you do that? And everybody was like, that's so cool. I was like, I guess it's okay, yeah. So,
because I'm trying to remember. I know in the Mishnah, like it just really specified the garment with like 4 corners, and it has to have the 4 corners. That's what it really just specified.
Yeah, it tells you like if it's a garment that has a hole in the middle for like the head, and it's sewn together on the sides, the actual cut going down to the corners has to be most of the garment for it to be considered a corner. Otherwise, it's just a cut in one of the edges. And so like a small cut on the side doesn't count as a corner. Kind of like it's just going into parameters as what counts as a legitimate corner of a garment. And that is to say, it has to be like most of the garment is the edge that leads to a corner, stuff like that. But outside of that, yeah, if you don't have a 4-corner garment, then you don't have to have seats on.
Right. All right. All right. So real quick. So all seriousness for a second. This is the one Seamus and I we were talking about earlier, and I think Brad would agree with us too. This is probably the one we're gonna talk about a little more than the other one. So it says, "My sons were not circumcised. Once they choose to become in covenant with God as men and their hearts become circumcised, I pray they seek out the physical side of that commandment." This one, Tashay, love you, but this is the one that like I had like the most problem with out of the slides.
Yeah, and even then, I wouldn't say like Shay. I don't want you to feel like we're shaming you for this. First and foremost, of all of what we're trying to say is of everything that you've listed,
Yes.
this was the only one where we were like, okay. And even then, my initial reaction, because again, I've spent so much time in a Jewish community at this point, so my initial reaction was, well, that commandment is for you, not for your kids. They just involve your kids, but you're not Jewish, so you're actually not bound to it anyway. And so, technically speaking, it's still not sin for you. Now, as a Torah observant Christian, you should think of yourself as, being, if most do, think of themselves as being bound to a lot of the Torah in a lot of ways. So if that's your thought process, then, that's one thing. But from a strictly Jewish perspective, the answer is, well, you're not like halachically Jewish, so it's not a sin for you. Like, this is fine.
So well, I kind of teeter totter only because Seamus, I get what you're saying, but so I just made a video talking about like one law theology, and we see so many examples within the Torah where it says that like this law that I'm giving to you and the sojourner who is among you. I mean, he says this like I think it was like 11 or 12 times, and possibly more. Those were just the verses I got. So even though Shay might not be literally Jewish, I feel like every God-fearer, whether you are Jew or Gentile, if the Bible, and again, Messianic Jew, Catholic, Orthodox, Protestant, this is something that I feel like you guys should do. This is a covenant promise. A lot of the people, especially with Orthodox and Catholics, I think they make a big thing on infant baptism. I'm not going to get into that if they should or shouldn't do that, but it is a covenant thing, and I think too it also is a health hazard. Only because I say that because my brother-in-law was not circumcised, and I'm not going to get into details. He had a lot of problems with being uncircumcised that had to take him to the emergency room a few times. So how I look at it is almost like the same thing kind of with like the food laws of eating kosher. Like I don't think Shay is damned to hell forever, and her kids are not going to be damned to hell forever, anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's something that you should do because it is for your benefit. God is our Father. Our Father has commanded us to do this thing. Obviously, God would not command us to do something that would be harmful or hurt us in any way, shape, or form. And just as it basically, just as our father, our dad, listen to him, that's the ultimate authority. That's kind of my 2 cents on it.
I think for me, it kind of like I would echo the sentiment here that like Shay, we're not trying to come down hard on you. We're definitely not trying to be the same Torah terrorist that you can't say these kind of things to. I think all three of us here would be willing to have a perfectly peaceful conversation with you about this. I think it comes from what I believe would be a very like a very modern Christian perspective on the issue, where one's faith is more personal and it's a much less communal issue. I mean, even Jews don't look at this and go, well, when my son wants to join the covenant, he can do that on his own. You are raising your children. If you're raising your children, you're raising them within this covenant. Right. And so that's where the duty to your children comes from, is that you are raising them in this covenant. While they're children, they are your responsibility. There is an age of accountability. Their sins are not really their own until they come of that age. And so it is something that does fall to you to raise them within that covenant. And again, that's why Jewish boys are circumcised on the 8th day, regardless of their choice in the matter. They don't really get a choice in the matter because they were born into a Jewish home. So you don't get to choose that. The idea that your faith is your personal responsibility, that you make the choices on, that's a very modern Christian way of looking at things. And it's not to say that it's wrong, but it's not 100% right. There's it's a slight mingling of both. Seamus, you might be able to speak a little bit more to that.
No, I think this comes from a good place. So I want to lead off with that. I
Right.
understand where you're coming from. You want your kids to choose this for themselves. And that will still be true, whether they're circumcised on the 8th day or not. I think the confusion is many Christians have, like you kind of started to say, treated the topic of circumcision a lot like baptism. And so, many Christians abhor the idea, or maybe not abhor, but they deny infant baptism. And so they've equated this to infant baptism, where that's not really what this is. The commandment of circumcision in the covenant is not a commandment for your kids. It is actually a commandment for you. And it just happens to involve your kids. It's a sign of the covenant for you. It's a sign of, in a few ways, it can be a sign of the Exodus, right? But for you, the price of the firstborn was the cost of salvation. And one way that you recognize that is by dedicating, your children in such a way. Now, your firstborn obviously is different, but that's like a way you can look at it. So it's, again, I get it. I think it comes from a good place, but it's a pretty Christian. It's a little bit of that Christian mindset still in there. Not necessarily wrong. And yeah, we're not. I'm not trying to. I don't want you to feel any shame for this. It also depends. Were you walking this walk of life when all of your kids were born? Or was this sort of after, or, is only your recent, there's situation about this that I don't know the whole story of. So it could very well be that you didn't start really walking this walk. Now I know one of your kids is like brand newly born. So, but it could be, I don't know. I'm not in your shoes. I can't really make that judgment call, but, I just want to say, that the circumcision purpose is for you to fulfill, not for your kids. For them, it becomes personal for their hearts, but the physical act that's done to them at 8 days after their birth is for you. It's not for them necessarily.
Let me just add one technicality to what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are not going to like hearing this, but unfortunately, this is just a biblical truth. This is not anything that anybody really should even remotely come down hard on her for in particular.
Yeah.
Or really even try and have a confrontational conversation with her about, because it really doesn't fall to her. This is a command that is issued to fathers, right? This isn't even really her decision to make. This is her husband's decision to make. So that's where his convictions are. Again, any of the three of us would be willing to have a reasonable, rational conversation with him about it. But this really is her husband's decision at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I just want to say real quick too, and like you're right, like we don't know how her husband is. Is he very religious? Like she might be essentially the spiritual leader of this household.
Yeah.
Which again, there's nothing wrong with that, and we don't know how far Shay was or coming in or anything like that. Again, I know she was excited because I messaged her and I said, "Hey, we're gonna go live tonight," and she was excited. So she's excited to hear our feedback.
Yeah.
I do think that she is going to expect like to get some feedback too. And like I've known her for years. I know she's not like a weak person where if you just say like should have done that, she's gonna sit in a room and cry all day about it.
I
Like
hope not. Yeah.
like she can definitely handle it. But I think she genuinely wants a open, raw conversation. So like I seriously think she's gonna really appreciate our feedback.
I'll finish on this on this story. It's another Talmudic story for you. There's a story that goes, in the end of days, in the world to come, everybody's lot in life will be a bundle, like a bag, a bundle. But all bundles will be anonymous. Yet everyone in there in the world to come will be able to recognize their bundle in the pile when they see it because it's theirs, and so they'll be able to recognize it. They'll also be able to see everybody else's bundle and prefer their own. The meaning behind that story is it's super easy for us now to look and judge and think this person has it easier, this person has it better, they're failing where I wouldn't. But the story is meant to teach that you don't know that, and very likely in the end, in the world to come, when you finally see what everybody else had, that you would never survive the life that they had in the same way or as good as they did, and you would prefer your own bundle. And so this does not come from a place of judgment from us. This is, some constructive criticism. But yeah, a mistake is a mistake. And if I were in those same shoes, I cannot say that I wouldn't make the same choice. I have no idea. And so it's not for me to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
I was going to put this in the comments and I didn't. Somebody asked something, and I can't remember what prompted it, but the problem becomes when you use a Torah as a club, that's the problem. The Torah is meant to be a mirror for you to look at yourself.
yes.
And so, yeah, once the Torah becomes anything other than a mirror for you to see the best version of yourself, you're in the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this one is and it makes sense to be this time of year. I go on walks with my children at night around Christmas trees so that we can see all the pretty lights and colors. Yeah, I live in Cleveland, and my kids, I don't always go with them for honestly, one, I'm just working, two, I'm just kind of lame and I don't really like to. I just don't care about the lights, but I have a 4 and a 5-year-old. They love them. So my wife takes them downtown, or they've literally, hey, honey, we're going to be like an hour late. We saw this really amazing light show. We want to go look at that. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
They're awesome.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
They're cool, man. I think when I commented on this video, or maybe it was a different video, someone doing a similar confession, and I said, my entire house has fir and pine scented candles this time of year. Because I love the way the pine and fir tree smells. The lights are beautiful. Go see them. Go on a walk. Go check them out. I do the same thing. There's no problem here, in my opinion, there's no problem. The implication is because you're enjoying a Christmas thing, that you're celebrating paganism or recognizing it in some way.
Here's what I'm going to say about that. Right? Is the Norse pagans worshipped a god named Thor, right? The god of thunder. Lightning was a big part of his reverence and the sign that he was near, so to speak. And in Judaism, there's actually a bracha that you say for if you witness lightning, like to appreciate something of that beauty and magnitude is not sinful. I mean, it's not like your house is decked out in Christmas lights, but I mean, the Christmas lights are pretty. That's just just an objective reality. They're pretty to look at.
And kids love that stuff, man.
Right.
So, yeah.
and just because like we're on the Christmas subject, I don't care what anybody says, and any Torah observer can get pissed off at me. I don't care. Every year I watch Christmas Vacation. I think that is the funniest Christmas movie of all time. Because look, I don't do all the customs. I don't bring a tree in my house. I don't do it. But watching the Griswold family do it, like they go in the middle of the woods and cut a tree down. I think that's like the most ridiculous thing. But it's like hilarious watching them do it, and they get the pine stuff stuck, and they're like trying to read a magazine. It's getting stuck. The squirrel that runs now is the cat. Shoots the electrical wires and shocks itself. Like, it's so funny. So yeah, you can enjoy like those types of things, you know.
Right.
I watch Die Hard every time this season.
It's not a Christmas movie though.
It's a Bruce Willis movie, but it is a Christmas movie. No, and even within Orthodoxy, there's a funny video that went around on TikTok of a rabbi, and he jokingly said, "I almost lost my rabbinic certification because my child went around telling everybody we celebrate half Halloween." And it turns out what the kid was telling everyone was, we only give candy, we don't take candy. But I think that beautifully illustrates like the Orthodox position, right? The leniency within, like, you don't have to lock your door, tape it off, turn your light out, shun everybody away. We don't celebrate Halloween. Don't come anywhere near here. Even the Jews who abstain from paganism in every way and shape and form, they have no problem with giving candy out to kids who come to their door. That's not them. They don't consider that celebrating or recognizing Halloween. That's just them being a good person. And so there's equally nothing wrong with going out and enjoying the light shows. Some of those houses, man, they hook that stuff up with music, and it's like really well put together. I mean, it's impressive. It's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, hey, let me ask you guys. Have you ever seen Trans-Siberian Orchestra?
Yeah.
Are we now pagans? Are we damned to hell because we go to a cool rock concert and look, yeah, they sing, you know.
Christmas music is low-key fire, actually.
Yeah, for real. For real. Look, that skillet version of O Come, O Come Emmanuel was just fire. Just
one of my favorite parts, The Herald. I actually like that song. I don't care what anyone says. Musically, I like that song.
Yeah. All right. Now this is the last one that she's got. So, and speaking of music, my favorite bands are System of a Down and Falling in Reverse. So, I'm
going to judge you hard for that last one. System of a Down is like great, but like, I'm not a fan of Ron.
That's where you draw the line.
So I was going to ask you guys, I don't think I've ever heard of Falling in Reverse.
That's
okay.
Have you heard of Escape the Fate?
That's okay. Brad, what'd you say?
Have you heard of Escape the Fate?
Yes.
Okay, so Escape the Fate's like original singer is the same singer for Falling in Reverse. Falling in Reverse is basically like Timu Escape the Fate.
Like Velvet Revolver is to Guns N' Roses?
Like
but doesn't suck?
Like Alter Bridge is to Creed.
Dude, wow. No, I like Creed.
I know Creed is fire though.
Like A Perfect Circle is to Tool.
Okay.
No, like Sage the Gemini is to System of a Down.
I would say like Stone Sour is to Slipknot, but both of those bands actually rock. So
now, so when she said System of a Down, that actually made me remember. So I back in high school, I got the album. I think it was Texas City, and
good album.
What song is it? The like part of the chorus is like, "Where angels deserve to die."
Chop Suey.
It is Chop Suey. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I remember that was playing. My mom came in. She's like, "Do you turn that off? Angels aren't supposed to die." And like, I'm like, "Mom, I'm just like, I don't even listen to the lyrics. I'm just jamming out to it."
It's all political. Like every song that they write has to do with like the politics in Armenia.
Mm-hmm. They're a political band.
It's even funny with System of a Down, because I think the lead singer, I'm trying to remember the story now. He was in like a library, and one of the guys told him to grab a random book, and he grabbed the Bible, and he said, "Open up to a page," and he recorded that lyric, Fall into your hands, I command my
Yeah.
spirit. Fall into my
That's a true
hands.
story.
You know. So yeah, it's all random, but I feel like you like the sound, you know, the energy it builds to you. You know, sometimes if I'm driving or if I'm listening by myself, like my favorite rap album of all time is Tech Nine's Ever Ready. Like I'll listen to rock. Sometimes I will put on like rap, but most of the times I am like 90s rock. You know, I have to like switch it up sometimes. Like some of that alternative, even to the 80s stuff.
Look, the reality is that a lot of modern rock, especially starting in the 90s, the 80s and 70s not so much, but beginning in the 90s and moving forward, it's so much more sincere and profound than actually most of the Christian music that's out there. To stick with System of a Down here, one of the most profound lyrics in one of their songs is from their song Aerials, and the line is, "Life is a waterfall. We drink from the river, then we turn around and put up our walls." And it's actually such a profound statement on human nature itself, if you actually sit and ponder it deeply enough. But so my favorite band, and Seamus's too, is Breaking Benjamin. Um, their lyrics are some of the absolute most profound, and for years and years I was like, man, this dude is like so close to like coming to biblical truths and just writing out biblical and like faith-based truths in his lyrics. And as he has progressed as a lyricist, that has only increased. I'm actually positive at this point that he probably is a closet Christian.
Jason Roush, the bassist for Red, who is a Christian band, is
Is
now
in Breaking Benjamin now.
is playing for Breaking Benjamin now. So it's
Right.
like pretty sure they are.
Matter of fact, Ben Burnley helped Red write the song Shadows, which if you go back and you listen to it, it doesn't sound like a Red song. It sounds like a Breaking Benjamin song that Red's lead vocalist is singing.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, kind of going back to Shay's point here, where, you know, a lot of people would look down on her because she listens to these bands. And it's weird. I'm trying to remember. It's the one black singer. I forgot what band it was. Like he was accused of sexually assaulting other men. Like, it came out. Oh man,
R. Kelly?
no. Oh, it's
Did he?
P. Diddy? Yeah.
No. It was one of
Michael Tate.
Who?
Michael Tate.
No, I don't think it was.
Not the
DC
previous
Talk?
singer for Killswitch Engaged, is it?
No. I know Michael Tate, who was with DC Talk first, and then he was with the Newsboys. There were allegations against him very recently.
Newsboys.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, that's his name.
Yeah, Michael Tate.
Yes, him. You know, and I guess he's sexually assaulted a lot of men, which is obviously a very serious crime. Are you guys familiar with the band Hawk Nelson?
Yep.
The lead singer, he came out and even said, you know, hey, my dad was a pastor. He kind of forced me to believe in this. I just wanted to rock out the whole time. I mean, I can kind of go on to my dad has been a part of a lot of bands. I kind of know how like the Christian rock star bands are, and I'll be honest with you. And I know Brad, you watch a lot of South Park, so you'll know where I'm kind of going with this. I feel like a lot of them slap on. I'm not trying to be funny, Brad. Stop it. I'm being serious. I feel like they slap on the name Jesus because they know Christians are a bunch of suckers and they will just buy the music. And there's a South Park episode where they literally do that.
Yeah.
And the guy is like questioning Cartman's lyrics about some things about like holding Jesus's hand, walking along the beach and everything like that. And he's like, well, yeah. I love Jesus, don't you? And he's gaslighting him. and he sells all these records and everything. And I kind of feel like going back to the whole Titsy thing, if you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. And I do feel like a lot of the Christian bands do it incorrectly, to be honest.
So the first interview I ever did was with someone who
I remember that
a long history in Christian music, has recorded with several very, very high level, top name Christian artists, and has played in several of some of the better known bands, either as a stand in, or just
Hired
a
musician.
stage player, what have you. And what he's outlined to me essentially is that the Christian music industry has been set up as like a direct mirror to the secular music industry. It's not actually trying to be different. It is trying to be identical. It's just doing a better idea of running interference for the stars.
The band Skillet, in an interview with Michael Knowles, the lead singer was doing an interview. Michael Knowles asked him a question: "Is the Christian music scene different from the rock star music scene?" And he said, "No, it's exactly the same. There's no difference."
Now, to what Will said earlier, some of these bands, especially Hawk Nelson, because they go way back. There was a time, Seamus, you'll remember this, where, and Will, you might also, depending on what cliques you ran in, where Christian. First of all, there was a time where, believe it or not, like heavy metal music ruled the roost of the culture. Like every kid was a metalhead, and in that same time, as far as like heavy metal music went, Christian bands ruled the roost of metal music.
Yeah.
All of the best bands that even secular kids that had never set foot in a church, their favorite bands were all Christian bands.
Yep. As Are They Dying, Convictions,
August Burns Red.
August Burns Red.
August, yes. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So there was an era where, like, if you really wanted to make it as a metal band, you had to be a Christian band. And I think that in a large way contributed to exactly what you just said, Will. That South Park dynamic of, like, really kind of just putting on the facade so that you could make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to address the point of the slide, your favorite bands are System of a Down. For that, we can be friends. Falling in Reverse, we may have to talk to you about that one, but I can work with it.
Yeah, I mean,
but there's nothing wrong here. Even Judaism has talked about this, in fact, because they even talk about the question is this: is it okay to listen to music written by Christian artists in Judaism? And Christians like Bach, Vivaldi, they wrote everything for churches. And the answer is, yeah, it's fine. It's beautiful music, and it's music for God in a lot of ways. But there are three different types of music. There's holy music, completely neutral music, and then disgusting music. And the disgusting music is the bad stuff you shouldn't listen to. That's all about sex, drugs, and money. But other music that's not about that stuff, it falls into the category of completely neutral, and it's totally fine. You're allowed to enjoy all of that in entertainment. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I still gotta look up who Falling in Reverse is, see if they're any good. If they suck, though.
If you do look them up, please only look up their recent stuff. Their older stuff is terrible. Specifically, look up the song Zombified. That's like the best thing they've come out with recently. And as much as I dislike Ronnie Radke, the song is fire. Like, I can admit that it is fire.
They say about the sun shining on a dog's arse every so often. No, if you seriously look them up, just make sure you clear your browser history after, so you're not embarrassed by the search. No, but yeah, this is it's benign though. Again, if you are in a community that makes you feel like you can't say that, you're in the wrong community. Come over here. We'd love to have you.
Right. We have
lots of where you are in your walk. You can be super from and very observant, or not really observant. It kind of doesn't matter to us. Everyone is in a different stage in their life, and regardless, you're commanded to treat every human being equally, and it's completely regardless of their status as a from individual. The only thing that would change is, like, depending on how you eat kosher would determine whether or not we feel comfortable eating at your house. But that doesn't stop us from going to your house and enjoying your presence, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was really cool. I appreciated Shay for doing this, and I think Brad, maybe you mentioned it. Other people have even kind of jumped on this trend too of just being like open and honest, and it's really weird because Austin showed me the one example in the Talmud of, I think it's in the Talmud. The one rabbi was telling like his students to fear man as like as much as they fear God, and they're like, no, we have to fear God more. And his response was, well, if you feared man the same way you feared God, like you wouldn't do things in hiding, like you wouldn't be so scared to do these things in front of man, but you openly do it in front of God.
Right.
And this is this is just so weird because just even like looking at the statement again, things that I've never said out loud because I was afraid of Torah terrorists. And if these people are harassing them, for one, I agree with, we could all agree that they're not even doing the mitzvahs correctly, and two, it's like, if you're really a Torah terrorist, for one, you're giving the Torah a bad name. And two, if you really understood the Torah, you wouldn't be doing this to begin with.
Right.
It's a mirror. If you're a Torah terrorist, debate me, bro.
I was going to say that in like my response to a lot of this stuff was going to be like, listen, if you're one of the people that's obviously being addressed by this whole thing, pick on someone your own size, come at me. I have a tongue sharper than my knife hands, and you will not do that stupid again. Come at me. But
right. And he's a Marine, like certified, like sharp knife hands.
But the thing is, like, these are people who are picking on, not people their own size. They're picking on the little guy. They're picking on people who are just getting started or not at the same level. And that ain't it. That ain't it, man.
Here's the thing: I do know some of the Torah terrorists in particular that have contributed to this. They blocked me because they didn't want to debate.
Yeah.
It's
just sad too because we're all brothers and sisters in this. Iron sharpens iron. Like, again, this was streamed on my channel and on Alternate Media's channel. We had a live discussion on the different Sabbaths between Brad and brother Matthew Jensen. And Brad and I, we love Matthew, say amazing things of him, and Matthew said amazing, loving things to Brad. But we disagree, but that doesn't mean we have to be a-holes to each other.
Right.
We can sit down. Iron sharpens iron. If I'm doing something wrong, Brad and Seamus are going to say like, hey, Will, like, I saw you doing this. Like, they're going to come to me in private. They're not going to make a TikTok. Yo, check this out. Look what Milwaukee did. Oh, he's an idiot. Blah, blah, blah.
I did call you out. You admitted to being a Trinitarian. I did do that publicly. I got you.
God, you should have did the got him.
I should have.
But I mean, like all seriousness, like if you are someone who really like actually follows the Torah, who has studied it out and actually done the walk with it, if you see your brother stumbling, like you're gonna help them. You're not gonna be an idiot to them. You're gonna genuinely look at them as, hey, this is a human being that my God also looks at him as a child. So if this is a child, even though if we have disagreements, they could be a Muslim, someone who denies Yeshua, an atheist, whatever. That is a human being that your God, my same God, considers very valuable. So treat them that way.
The Talmud says to treat every human being as though the world was created for that person.
It's beautiful. And I like, honestly, like I think I was definitely in the Hebrew roots. I shouldn't really even say that because Seamus is going to clip that and use it against me in a later
ladies
video.
And gentlemen, we got him.
We got him.
But it was so hard for me to jump on just because of all the made up crap. What's his name? Lou White. Saying the name Jesus is pagan, you're worshiping blah blah blah. Or if you say the name God, you are secretly worshiping, like all this weird stuff. So I never got into it, but I did feel so alone and by myself. And again, going into like a Jewish community with Jewish individuals, I thought was a beautiful calling. And I would encourage everyone, and again, it's a religion that you can disagree with, you could argue, but we're still loving, we're still brotherhood. Torah is our foundation. And, I would encourage people to look at that, because I know a lot of people are going into Catholicism and Orthodoxy, which is fine, but like there's another option out there too that I think gets overlooked by people. And I'll say this, from very stupid examples of what they say concerning the Talmud, which Seamus is actually doing a beautiful job right now. Seamus, you're having a Talmud series on the channel to really break down what the Talmud actually says, instead of just taking one verse that's not even translated properly and being, this is what the Jews believe in. Jesus is burning forever in poop and other stuff that I can't say on here, nor do I kind of want to talk about.
It's my favorite example, because like I didn't even mention this in the video, but that's how you can tell someone knows basically nothing about Judaism, because Jews don't even believe in eternal punishment. So, yeah. If they say Jews believe Jesus is forever burning in, pudding, it's like, yeah, you already have no idea what you're talking about. Clearly, you've already started off wrong. So, yeah,
stop.
Yeah.
Before we close, before I say my final word, Seamus and Brett, did you want to say anything to Shay regarding her post, anything like that?
Shay, we love you, right? And we definitely don't want to see you walk away from Torah or from faith in general because of people who are treating you this way and have treated you this way. Don't lose faith in those who do observe Torah, because we aren't all that way, and some of us are willing to have an agreeable disagreement, and it's not all bad.
Yeah. I think don't get discouraged by the bullies out there. That's going to happen. Honestly, ignore them. And every mitzvah in the Torah is a chance. It's a bridge. It's a piece of the bridge to connect to Hashem, to God. And so, I would encourage to keep going in the way that you're going. You are at where you are at in your life, and don't let anyone judge you for where you are now. Every day you grow as a person, and take some time every so often to reflect at where you once were and look at your own progress and be encouraged by that. No one's ever going to be perfect. So there's no reason to be discouraged by seeking perfection and it being like it's so far away. And if you're in a community, or if you feel like you're part of a community that you can't be yourself around, and that you have to hide bits and pieces of yourself for that reason, you're in the wrong community. And I would encourage you to seek, community elsewhere, someone that's going to be a little bit more, not just going to accept you and not encourage you to grow, right? We're not saying find a community that's going to affirm your sins and let you live in it. But don't let them bully you. And that's not the right spirit.
Point those Torah terrorists in our direction.
Yeah. We're your backup. Call on us anytime you need it. Me and Brad don't pick fights. We very rarely do. And what that has done for our image really is we're not really seen as the combative type. I don't think. Brad, you're definitely more combative than me, 100%.
Much.
But we don't go out there picking fights. But trust me when I say, when we do get in one, it gets ugly quick. And all you got to do,
I finished them.
All you got to do is look at that debate we did a few years ago, and that's just a taste of the kind of thing that we can be capable of. But we don't try to flaunt that. We'd rather be peaceful men. But if you ever need backup, we're your guys.
No, yeah, I was happy to see that like Shay tagged us along with Matthew Jensen and Digital Pastor Jim in her comment, because
Yeah.
it's like she looks at us, so obviously she's like, hey, those are the mature people of this group. Let me get their opinion. And I was honored by that.
Yeah,
it,
me
it
too.
was cool. So we love you, Shay.
Yeah, it.
Now
You're not about to advertise our book again, are you?
I am going to advertise the book because not only is Hanukkah around the corner, but Chanukah is also around the corner. Chanukah is just like Hanukkah, but it's just pronounced differently. It's more holier. That's what it says in the Babylonian Talmud Tractate 74. It's there, trust me, bro. Yeah, guys, go get it. Can't get this one though. I'm gonna have them sign this, and then I'll auction off at eBay for like $100 to make more money off it. But it's on. It's like, what is the book, Seamus? Were you saying it's like $20?
So the volume 2 is $20 for the hardcover, $15 for the paperback copy. Same with the new print of volume 1. But I'm advertising volume 2 because, Will, you're an author in this book. So you have a couple of articles in here. So this isn't us plugging ourselves. This is you plugging yourself too. So
yeah. So every copy that is sold to volume 2, I get a royalty of Monopoly money. So it's I really want that, just so whenever we do play Monopoly, I will have extra money I can reach into the bank and use. So it helps me out to beat other people at board games because I suck. So it's almost like a crutch. So I'd appreciate it if you guys could go get that volume 2.
Actually, what we pay him in bottle caps, and then we play bottle cap poker on Saturdays, and then we take the bottle caps back from him. So yeah.
There we Well, Brad and Seamus, guys, thanks for coming on. Thanks for doing this discussion. I thought this was good. I hope Shay reaches out to us, and I even asked her if she wanted to jump on, but I know she's busy with the kids and everything. Totally get that. I think she's gonna watch this tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for coming on, everyone watching. Thanks. I saw a lot of the comments going through. I didn't really get to read all of them, but you guys watching, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope like this kind of makes sense, and just I hope all three of us, the tri-unity that is right here, help brought more clarity to kind of this topic. So yeah, that being said, I'm tired. Everyone else is tired because Seamus is on the freaking west side, so we had to do this at night. So
it's not even dinner time for me yet.
It's way past.
Shalom, my homies, and good night.
L'chaim.